Robert De Niro is furious. And why is he furious? Well, because as the ultimate sufferer of TDS in Hollywood, which is saying a lot, it turns out that his Gotham Awards speech was censored by Apple TV or somebody in the editing room for being full of anti-Trump rhetoric. Welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idle, and that's right. When the left and when the woke Hollywood elites get a taste of their own medicine, they don't take too kindly to it. So we're going to get into this article talking about how Robert De Niro claims his speech was altered and some of the things he said in his speech that Apple TV did not actually put into the teleprompter. But before we do, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, because the only way for us to win this culture war and keep politics out of nerd culture is for channels like mine and of course all the rest in the same sphere to survive. Hit that subscribe button. Let's get to 2,000 subscribers before the end of the year, and check this out. Robert De Niro says his Gotham speech was censored, anti-Trump comments removed without notice. And this is a pretty apropos photo considering he looks rather unhappy. And as he should. I mean, when individuals, their voice is taken away, what do they really have? When you're not allowed to say what you believe and what you feel and what you know in your heart to be true and get that message to the masses, then you should be upset. Kind of like how everybody on our side of things has felt since about 2014 or so. It's not so great when it happens to you, is it, Robbie? A confused Robert De Niro claimed that his Gotham Awards speech was censored during the live ceremony on Monday night. The actor claimed anti-Trump comments were removed without notice. I'm gonna go back. I'm sorry. Okay, there was a mistake in this. I'll keep going, just keep scrolling. Robert De Niro said early on his speech. I just want to say one thing, he said, doubling back. The beginning of my speech was edited, cut out, and I didn't know about it, and I want to read it. History isn't history anymore. Truth is not truth. Even facts are being replaced by alternative facts and driven by conspiracy theories and ugliness. Now, before we go on with what he says, because let's be real, it's just the same nonsensical talking points that we've been hearing from these celebrities who don't know anything about culture or politics since 2015. This is exactly what we need to see. I actually wanted to applaud Apple or Gotham or whoever it was that did this, not because I'm pro individual speech getting censored. In fact, you would think that I'm very against this move. However, there's a caveat to this. I'm a capitalist, and when you're on company time, you gotta abide by what the company is doing. You are here to promote a movie. You are here to introduce Martin Scorsese and the chief standing bear, I believe his name was, for the work on Killers of the Flower Moon. His speech shouldn't have had anything to do with politics, with Donald Trump, with any of that sort, because Martin Scorsese was at this speech receiving an award, and that's all De Niro needed to do was give a quick thanks, a quick, hey, you're awesome, Scorsese, there's a reason you're the pinnacle of filmmaking, come out here and accept your award. But he wanted to use this moment to preach about a man who has not been president in nearly half a decade, something that most people, let's be real, don't care about. We all know that these award ceremonies are just Hollywood circle jerks, but even being a Hollywood circle jerk, they know that when events like these are televised or covered in the news, that it's going to get pushback when you include things that are too political, because everyone, and I mean nearly everyone, is tired of all the political messaging and propaganda that is coming out of Hollywood. And when you see someone like Apple, or maybe it was Gotham, whoever it was, self-censoring, taking the speech that De Niro wrote and turning it about things that have nothing to do with Scorsese and his work and saying, yeah, we're gonna cut all of this, it goes to show that they know they don't want to lose viewers. They are in a position where they cannot lose the money that they have coming in. The new Godzilla show just dropped. Sure would be a shame if people canceled their Apple TV Plus because Robert De Niro said some stupid politically divisive things, and now they're not going to generate revenue off their new, assumingly multi-million dollar, hundreds of millions of dollars possibly, Godzilla show. You got one man out there who has the potential to screw your company out of hundreds of millions of dollars because of his own personal politics. Now, is he free to have those politics? Is he free to say what he wants to say? By God, absolutely. In fact, I want him to say these crazy unhinged things because it goes to show what the woke elites in Hollywood actually think about you in middle America, your values, the things you care about. But I do not think he is free to say them on company time. This is what makes what's going on with Robert De Niro very different than Melissa Barrera and the firing of her from Scream 7 when it comes to her using her speech. Because to my knowledge, she was using her platform away from company time. She wasn't talking about the Hamas-Palestine stuff on set. She wasn't working while doing it. They were Instagram posts. And you know what? I don't think she should be fired for speech. Now, do I think that De Niro here should be censored? Absolutely, because this is not something that he's doing on his own free time. He's at these award shows, he's at a gig, he's doing his job as an actor, and while you're on the clock, you should do nothing but your work. It really is that simple. So we're going to continue with what he has to say. Just know, again, it's nothing you really haven't heard before, but of course, with that Robert De Niro's senile flair. In Florida, young students are taught that slaves develop skills that could be applied for their personal benefit, De Niro continued. The entertainment industry isn't immune to this festering disease. The Duke John Wayne famously said of Native Americans, "I don't feel we did wrong in taking this country away from them. There were great numbers of people who need new land, and Indians were selfishly trying to keep it for themselves." Now remind you, this was all cut. He decided to continue talking after the teleprompter was finished with his speech to say what was cut anyway. Now, were I in his position, were I an actor and I had a job and I saw that part of the speech was cut, I would just, go on and say what was on the teleprompter and move on. What if it was cut for time? What if it had nothing to do with the political side of things? What if there was a very specific, ad break? Hey, we've got to get the ads in here because that's how commercials, make this company money. They're able to get it to where we have this on the air. And maybe his speech was just too long. But no. He selfishly decides to ignore the teleprompter and just get his political diatribe out of the way, regardless of what it could be costing the company. I mean, obviously we know it was for political reasons. We know that Apple decided, you know what, for once, let's try and meet our customers in the middle because we probably have Republican viewers, and I can completely respect and appreciate that. But if you want to get outside the culture war aspect of it and get outside the political side of things, it could honestly have been just as simple as, this was supposed to be a 2-minute speech, not a 5-minute speech. Let's cut some stuff so we make sure we've got our commercial breaks in at the proper time. It is absolutely insane to me that even after seeing the teleprompter cut that aspect of his speech, he still goes on to say it because he's a spoiled, petulant child, a 97-year-old child, or however old this ancient man is, that cannot stand not getting his way. Because all these Hollywood elites, that's all they're used to, is getting their way, and they're used to everyone agreeing with them and jerking them off for their inane points of view. Lying has become just another tool in the charlatan's arsenal. The former president lied to us more than 30,000 times during his 4 years in office. That's a lot of lies, and look, no one's gonna say that Trump was the most honest guy. Dude was a ruthless businessman. You can't really be honest and be a ruthless businessman at the same time. They just don't go hand in hand. But 30,000, that's a pretty big number. I'm curious how Robert De Niro was able to come to such a massive number. Like, is he able to count? Did he just sit there in front of CNN for 4 years and count each and every individual lie? And also, I'm curious what his bar was. What did he know was a lie? Because a lot of the stuff that Biden has said about COVID and a lot of stuff that Pfizer has said, well, turns out those weren't exactly too honest either. So I'm curious as to why you're not calling out your own side when you've also been known for lying quite a bit. Let's be real, there is no good political party out there. Sorry, Republicans, I know, I ain't one of you, I ain't a Democrat either, because there are no good political parties out there. Why only focus on this seemingly arbitrary number of 30,000 times that can't exactly be verified? It's just incredible that he wanted to throw out such a ridiculous number, and he expects people to take it seriously. But again, Hollywood circle jerk. He's keeping up the pace with his current campaign of retribution, but with all the lies, he can't hide his soul. He attacks the weak, destroys the gifts of nature, and shows disrespect. For example, by using Pocahontas as a slur. Filmmakers, on the other hand, strive. This is where I came in and saw they had edited all that. So everything he said up to this point was actually cut. The speech started here, which means he opened with all that nonsensical anti-Trump stuff, which leads me to beg the question, does he remember why he was there? To give an award to Martin Scorsese. Why even open with all of that? It had no relevance whatsoever to the award he was supposedly supposed to be presenting. So no wonder it was cut. Again, even if it wasn't cut for let's keep middle America happy, a business, being an intelligent business and deciding not to alienate 50% of their viewers, even if they didn't cut it for that, they could have just simply cut it because, hey, this has nothing to do with the awards we've got going on right now. Like, imagine if I was, making a Pokemon video, and I decided to talk to you guys about my favorite Pokemon game. But I open up the video talking about Ted Bundy. Now, unless I'm about to do a very strange Pokemon fan theory, it would be odd for me to open up a Pokemon video talking about a prolific serial killer. So that is the equivalent of what we saw going on here. So Apple was right to cancel it regardless of the reasoning, regardless of whether it was for, ad breaks for commercials, not alienating middle America, or the fact that it just logically had no place being in the speech, considering it had nothing to do with Martin Scorsese. There's a million reasons you could say them cutting this part of the speech was good, and he had to throw a tizzy. So I'm going to say these things, but to Apple and to thank them and all that, De Niro said as he wrapped up the speech, Gotham, blah, 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 but I don't feel like thanking them at all for what they did. How dare they do that, actually? But now I will go to accepting the award for Killers of the Flower Moon. De Niro was on hand to introduce the Gotham historical icon and creator tribute award on behalf of Killers of the Flower Moon. Apple did not respond to Variety's request for comment. Well, I'm not surprised by that in the slightest. Moments like these are such glorious things, and you see headlines like this from Variety where they don't actually even try to twist it in any way, shape, or form. Like, if you were to read back through this article, I can't believe I'm not seeing a left-leaning bend to this article. I'm not seeing a right-leaning one either, which is fine. Yes, obviously there's going to be some editorialism here and there, but at the end of the day, this is a pretty fair written article, if I do say so myself. It just said, this is what happened, this is what Robert De Niro said, this is what they claim to have seen or been part of, and I don't see an ideological lens to this. That means we're winning. That means our side is getting what we asked for. And when I say our side, again, I don't mean Republicans or conservatives, because my side is on the individual who wants to get this woke and honestly any political toxic culture out of pop culture, out of nerd culture, out of filmmaking, because when you are injecting real world politics into your films, you automatically are going to have a bad problem. Just like I don't want to see tranny characters in Star Wars talking about how amazing it is to be trans and how children should do it, I also don't want to see Star Wars characters talking about how incredible the Second Amendment is. I want in-universe politics to be just that, in-universe, and keep your reality out of it, because that's what we need in these sort of times, is true blue escapism. If you want to rattle on about your political beliefs one way or the other, I got no beef. Do it. That's the glorious thing about freedom of speech, but keep it the hell out of these escapist products that we have grown up with for years upon years that you have hijacked and used to peddle your political propaganda messages. Let's be real, 99 times out of 100, it's the left doing it, but the right is not immune to it as well, so call it out on both sides when you see it. But again, just knowing that Apple did in fact censor who knows how many paragraphs of anti-Trump rhetoric means that our side is gaining ground, and we cannot take that for granted. We gotta keep making these videos, we gotta keep applauding when moments like this happen, we have to keep supporting products that do share our beliefs, whether they be independent or from the large Hollywood machine, when you occasionally do have movies come out, or films, or video games, books, what have you, that come out and they do actually cater to your ideologies and do not have any woke propaganda in them, which is why you need to go ahead and subscribe to channels like this one. Again, I said it before, hit that subscribe button, because it is imperative that we do get the message out there and that we keep pushing, that we do not stop, because that is the only way we're going to fix nerd culture. But those are just my opinions. Let me know yours in the comments down below, or let me know on X, where you can find me at Bolt the Word, and please do check me out on Instagram at wordsofparadise_Leon, because you guys know it is all here in the nerdosphere, and this has been Words of Paradise.